It's been a while since we've had her on. Let's bring in Hanna from TSN Ottawa. And before we get to Ottawa sports, as you know, Claire, I've got a tremendous amount of respect for your journalistic acumen. So I just want your take as an observer of the Mike Babcock situation. What are your thoughts in the last week of what's gone on?
Rod, I knew you'd ask. Oh, man. Okay, well, I was texting with somebody else in the industry about this yesterday, and I think that it's really hard to find the winners in this situation, to be honest. This might come off as controversial, but I think it's okay. And I think it's really important for a coach to get to know his athletes or her athletes. And so I think this strategy, like, you're just getting to know them. Like, photo reels are a pretty personal space for anybody. But at the same time, like, I don't know, I probably wouldn't have a hard time showing my photo reels to anybody. And I also think when you're dealing with players who make a lot of money, you want to get to know them. And I think it's okay to do some check-ins like that. But yeah, it's an invasion of privacy too. So I'm really on the fence. I've been thinking about this a lot. Is it worth, dismissing him over that? I don't know. That's the question for me. I'm wondering if it was a bit of an overreach. But then I want to say something about Paul Bissonnette's reporting. Like, yeah, he reported this story and it's correct, but what other things does Paul Bissonnette know about hockey culture or misogyny that he's not reporting? And I just think if he's going to say that story, then he should be saying a lot of other ones too.
Yeah, well, hey, welcome to 2023. It's like, who gets to pick who gets canceled and who doesn't? And I'm not even saying Babs was canceled. I don't know enough about it. I just think it's a wild story and kind of fun to watch. I can tell you what hasn't been fun to watch, and we'll get to the Senators in a second, but it's the poor Ottawa REDBLACKS fans. Like, every week they're finding new ways to lose. Oh. And I just feel like they're raging. What's it like?
Yeah, well, okay, first of all, I was away for most of the summer, so I missed some of the amazing comebacks that Dustin Crum led, the quarterback, against Winnipeg. Well, like, I feel bad. I missed some of their thrilling overtime victories. So I've been back. I've covered 2 of their matches, the one against Hamilton where they lost. In that one, they had a chance possibly on the final drive, but the one in BC was such a heartbreaker. Up 19 points in the fourth quarter, and you let that one go. That's tough. You got to give a lot of credit to BC because they never gave up. They thought in the back of their minds, okay, this is a CFL. Anything can happen. But if I'm on the Ottawa REDBLACKS, I'm heartbroken because I'm looking at the record. I'm thinking about how many just such close games they've played and that they've lost by a single possession. And that one is really the dagger to the heart. So, this is a team that had promise. They've gone through 4 quarterbacks. It's never easy to find chemistry when you've got that kind of a rotating cycle, Rod, as you've seen in this industry, in this league, sorry. So I think they tried to do what they could, but this one's going to sting.
Yeah, well, I think that you just got to look as far as Edmonton with what's gone on there. They went from being blown out to close games, losing, and now winning. That's the track that I see Ottawa on. So the fans are just going to have to be paid. They're not getting blown out anymore. They're still losing, but at least they're close games. That's progress in my mind, which takes me to the Senators. They haven't made the playoffs since I don't know when. Are they going to this year?
6 seasons. I'll tell people.
Okay. That's a long time.
Yeah.
So how's that going over? It's like you don't want to talk about it, is the sense I get.
For the question. How's it going?
Yeah.
Well, I think
what's the mood there?
Fan base that's also been patient, but I think the patience is wearing thin because 6 years is a long time to be in a rebuild. But here's the thing, like, Rod, this is such an exciting group of kids. And I say kids because Tim Stützle, I think he's 21 years old. He led their team with 90 points last year. Brady Tkachuk is, I think, 24, 25. Josh Norris, if he's healthy, he's young. Jake Sanderson, who they just signed. Like, this group has so many young, I don't want to say promising players because they're already starting to deliver and they're at such a young age category that there's really nowhere for this group to go but up. And so I don't want to throw around the word playoffs because that's a scary expectation to place on a team. And I don't think they're going to be talking about that. But we did see Brady Tkachuk, the captain, at the end of last season say, I am sick and tired of not playing at the end of April. I never want this to happen again. So you know that is really what they're aiming for this season. And I mean, they've put up some exciting hockey these past 2 years. They've had slumps which have really devastated this fan base, especially in November. If they can figure out how to put some wins together in November, I think that's going to set them up for success down the end and just keep this fan base really into it. But they've just been a pretty fun group to watch, and I think they're only going to get more interesting.
Well, I think we're seeing with the NFL's Washington Commanders what an ownership change can do. The Commanders are 2-0, and who knows if they'll continue on that road, but a breath of fresh air can mean a lot in an organization. Is it too early to sense that the Sens are getting a breath of fresh air with the ownership change there?
Well, I think you saw just the fact that they jumped to sign Jake Sanderson to that, a contract extension, 8 years. I don't know if you would have seen that in the old ownership group, and I don't want to speak a lot to that ownership group because I don't have a lot of experience with them. We haven't met Michael Andlauer officially as media. We're anticipating that's going to be happening, sometime soon, that he will, be officially named the new owner of the Ottawa Senators. But I think that this is a team now that's is going to be a cap team. Before they were always making sure they spent enough to reach the cap or to the minimum cap, but now they're flirting with the top. They've only got $900,000 worth of space. They still need to sign Shane Pinto, so they're probably going to have to free up some cap space to do that. I don't see them letting a young forward like that go. He's probably in the bottom six, but he's played in the top six before. He's just a key part to their depth as a center. But yeah, I think you're seeing already the shift in that this is a team that's going to spend money to be great.
Hey, we have about a minute. Over your shoulder, is that a Jason Robbins painting? And what's the story behind it? Please, he's my favorite artist in the world. Yeah.
Yes, Rod, you're so good. It is. I actually had this commissioned when I left Saskatchewan for Ottawa, and I sent him a whole bunch of photos of my favorite places in Regina, some of my favorite events that I'd covered. You'll probably see there's some like Briar up there. There's the CP Women's Open. There's Mosaic Stadium, and it's just a big mosaic of everything. I'm so happy you noticed that, Rod. I love Jason Robbins, and he did a great job.
He's the greatest artist I've ever seen. He's the best and a wonderful person. So I'm glad I asked. Hey, I'm glad everything's going so great. Claire, keep it up. We're watching all the time. Thanks for the time today.
I miss you guys. I hope everything's well, Rod.
We miss you too. Thank you. TSN Ottawa's Claire Hanna checking in from the nation's capital.